Well, g'day curd nerds. G'day curd nerds. Well, 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 g'day curd nerds and welcome to Ask the Cheeseman. It's episode 239. So thanks for turning up today. Lots of people in the chat, which is fantastic. Lovely to see everybody. As always, big thank you to all of my YouTube members and patrons. We have a few new ones this week. Of note, we have Swenia. Hello, Swenia. Thank you so much for your YouTube membership, and everybody else there that donates on a monthly basis. Don't forget, we've also got lots of patrons as well. Thank you, all patrons. And of note this week, Matt Ryan. Thank you, Matt, for your patronage. Without their support, the show just wouldn't happen. We wouldn't have it twice weekly anyway, that's for sure. Okay, lots of people in the chat, and before we get going, don't forget that if you've got a burning question, because there are so many people here today, and we are going to have an extra long gallery. I've got so many submissions this week that you can also do a what's known as a super chat. There's a little dollar sign down in the chat box. And you should be able to make the curd nerd, whoops, not that button, Gav, make the curd nerd light flash and ask a question that I will get to straight away. So super chats get special preference, of course, when it comes to the questions. Okay, alright, so videos coming up. We've got another Gavin Reacts this week. That'll be happening soon, and all the patrons and members of a certain tier will get early access to that video. I'm also planning with Kim, she's going to help me out this time, with a 5 cheese ball extravaganza. So 5 different flavoured cheese balls that you can do for the holiday period. So that should be very exciting. I'm looking forward to that. So I will be making my classic French cream cheese, which just is absolutely delicious, and making 5 different types of cheese balls. They're not going to be massive. They're going to be small. I don't know, 250 grams plus, about 300 grams they'll be. So that'll be fun, and we have some upcoming videos which I'm planning at the moment. Let me just bring up the Trello board. So this is my video production board. So in the works, we've got Dambo cheese, triple cream, a prima donna fino. I'm trying to find a recipe at the moment for that, but I think it's a little bit of a stronger chowder. And from Cheryl, I've got a recipe called Jack in the Box. I've also got something kind of like Tete de Moines, so that will be interesting if I can pull that one off. I've certainly got the Girol, which is the little shaving device. Sorry, shaving device there. And of course, I've still got a script for the Ways with Whey, and yeah, anyway. But in video production at the moment, I'm still shooting out Blossom. I've had to remake that cheese after a bit of a disaster. So that is maturing, and then I'm going to coat it in flowers, and that'll be probably the Christmas cheese, the way it's going at the moment. And then cheeses that I've already done and promoted. Anyway, so that's the video production board at the moment. That's what's going on in Gav's little YouTube video world. Let's say g'day to a few people. There may be some jokes. Somebody's asked if there's going to be jokes, but yeah, there may be. Depends on how long the gallery goes. Now, like, I've got about 20 photos. People have just been throwing that at me, which is fantastic, by the way. I really love seeing your cheese photos. I love sharing them with everybody. And I think that the Gavin Reacts to Your Cheese segment might have had something to do with it. But that's very cool. All right, so let's say g'day to everybody who's in the chat today. Well, as many as I can anyway. Nicola, g'day, how are you? Donna and Tracy, hello Tracy from Cheese Needs. Michael in Adelaide and Jenny, hello to both of you. Shauna in Tassie, g'day Shauna, how are you? Christy in Kentucky, hello Christy. And Thomas from Kentucky as well. And we got Katarina, hello, how are you? Paul, Funpants94, aka Nolan, hello Nolan, lovely to see you. Cool Cat, lovely to see you. We got Sully Adams, first timer maybe. Dennis, g'day Dennis. And Tony, thanks for your photos, both Dennis and Tony. And Patricia, got a bit of a heat spell over there in Halifax, where everywhere else is, oh, it's not good. It's all snowy. What's we got? Jim, hello Jim, and thank you for your membership for the last 36 months, something like that. Rob and Tamara, thanks for the photos and the late entry there, Tamara, I got that one. Julia and Frederick, hello Frederick from Sweden. Goodness me, the time zones must be all aligned. And we got a super chat straight away. It's so cool. I'll get to that in 2 seconds. I'll just turn that off so nobody has a thingo. And of course it's Jim. Thank you Jim for your kind $2 donation just to see the light once more. Indeed, thank you mate, really appreciate it. Let's have a look, and there are lots of others. Who else we got? We got Wendy, Brendan, Spice Packs, what is this, X2X Studios, and Big Shoe, Anthony, goodness me, Cinta, Herb, hello Herb, and you made it. John and, goodness me, who else we got? I can't say that in Welsh. I wish I could speak Welsh. Oh well, it's one of those languages that I think I'll have to master, but thank you so much. And Suzanne from Alberta. Rightio, so before the questions go away, let's get into the first one. Good morning, Gavin. I'm making cheese today again, so I can't stay, but had a question that's been bouncing around in my head for a while, and I keep forgetting to ask you. When you say, for example, adding 1 tablespoon of salt, is that a US or Australian measurement? A US tablespoon is 15 mils and an Aussie one is 20. Can you clarify this for me? I use the US measurement, the 15 mils, Brendan. So for all the recipes, because the vast majority of the recipes are from US cookbooks, so I stick to the US tablespoon. So 15 mils, a teaspoon is 5 mils, so 3 teaspoons make a tablespoon in this instance, and yeah, so that answers the question. So if you're putting a little bit more salt, then it's no big deal. It'd just be a little bit saltier and probably prevent that bitterness anyway. Okay. X2X says, we bought your mozzarella and ricotta kit. We're going to make it right now. Any tips? Yes, read the manual. Read the book. Read the book. And all your questions will be answered. It's quite a good little kit from... Let me have a look. Do I have the mozzarella kit? I do. Oh, excuse me. Right. That's the one you're talking about. So we get it from Green Living Australia, which is the manufacturer of the kit, who we know quite well and trust. We've been selling their kits for, I don't know, since when did I first started doing some e-commerce? 2012, I think. 2012, when the company, our business first started, Little Green Workshops. So yeah, really good kit. And I've used the ingredients and everything that's in the kit to make my own mozzarella, and I don't have too many troubles, and followed their recipe for the first time, so that's cool. Okay, From Big Shoe says, is whiskey a possible infusion into cheddar? I've tried numerous beers and ales that were successful. Look, I couldn't see why not. Most liqueurs would work with cheese. Depends on how much you're going to use. Remember, whiskey's a bit stronger than beers, so depends on the proof, I suppose, of the whiskey. The alcohol may affect the lactic bacteria development. I don't know. I've never tried it, but I have seen liqueur and whiskey infused cheeses on the market. So how they do it, I'm not sure. Whether they just add a flavouring agent or they add the full-blown alcoholic beverage, I'm not sure, Big Shoe. But yeah, look, hey, you could test it. Funpants94 says, how do you store your liquid calcium chloride? Any concerns from room temperature or light impacting it? Look, normally I store mine in the kitchen fridge, just alongside the rennet, because that's what I'm used to. But some of the packaging advice that I've seen lately from a few manufacturers we stock is just put it in a cool, dry place. It's only mineral salts, just like normal sodium chloride, except in liquid form, but it's calcium chloride, a little bit different. But it is still a salt, just suspended in liquid. But yeah, I keep mine in the kitchen fridge, even though the advice is that you can store it in a cool, dark place. I don't know about light impacting it, but in the fridge, there's no light on when the door's shut. Anyway, so there you go. Anthony says, I noticed that if I wait a bit after draining off the whey, the ricotta sometimes will not coagulate. I believe it's due to a low pH. Would upping the pH before heating help correct the coagulation? Anthony, when you make whey ricotta, you should make it straight away. But you're right on the money. As soon as the acidity drops too low, it won't form. So if you've got whey that is older than, say, 3 hours, then it's had a fair bit of time to acidify. And by adding more acid, it's not going to congeal and form together. So by adding something like a buffer to, like what is it? Sodium bicarbonate. I wouldn't add anything to the milk, because the flavors will be off. So yeah, just get to the whey quickly. Shauna says cheese balls sound great. Thanks, Shauna. Appreciate it. It was Kim's idea, actually. She said, why don't you make some more cheese balls? We love the cheese balls. So yeah, I'll be doing that. And Patricia has a comment, says, goodness gracious, great balls of cheese. Indeed. Oh, goodness me. Funpants94 says, if you're in the pressing stage and find out you've been pressing too hard and start to seal the rind too early, what would you recommend? Would you break it down, repress and redress? Yes, if you find that there's too much moisture locked in, which may be hard because you've already started to press it, so that may be difficult. Yeah, look, definitely you can break the cheese up again and then repress it. That's no hassle, and press it a little bit lighter to start with, and then as you've seen in just about every single video that I produce for a cheese tutorial, I press it lightly to start with, and then I increase the weight to finally close up that rind, but still expelling a fair bit of whey. I hope that answers your question. Okay. A couple of first timers there. Suzanne. Hello, Suzanne. Lovely to see you. And USA Soapworks. Hi, how are you? Katarina's got a question that says, prima donna is a particular favourite of mine. I've had no luck finding a recipe. If I had more cheese knowledge, I might try cooking up my own Gouda Parmesan style cheese. Yeah, so look, what I was thinking, Katarina, was making standard chowder using my tried and true recipe, but adding some lipase to it, not too much, just a little, and that will give it that piquant flavour that is normally like Parmesan. So you're going to get the Parmesan flavour, but the chowder texture, if that makes sense. So that's what I was kind of aiming at. If anything, I would add calf lipase, which is a lot lighter. So yeah, that's certainly what I would do, and probably no more than 1/8 of a teaspoon into my chowder recipe. Now we've got another super chat popping off there. This is from Cinta. Hello, Cinta. Thank you so much. But no message. But thank you so much for the kind $2 US. Appreciate it. If you got a message somewhere in there, just pop it in, and we'll have a look. And a new member. Hello, Frederick. Thank you. Welcome to the fresh tier of memberships. Very good. Thank you so much, mate. Suzanne says, do you have a more recent video on making cow feta? The one I tried was 11 years ago. I have a few questions, lol. No, the most recent feta... So I've made 3 feta videos. So I've made one with cow's milk. That was quite a while ago, and you're right, the video was one of my very earliest, so I could probably remake that. I'll just write that down as a suggestion, because I don't think I added all the steps in, or the videography was a bit crappy or something like that. But yeah, good suggestion. I could do that with today's standards, if that makes sense. So I'll pop that on my list and put it in my Trello board, because that's one easily enough done without too much research, of course. Okay, thanks Suzanne for that. Matt says, can I repurpose an old fridge as a cheese cave? Indeed you can. I do have a video on the channel about my cheese fridge and what I've done to it. Basically, I bought an external thermostat, and there's a blog post. Hang on, let me find that. This is going to help out no end. And it's even got some links in there that will help you. Let me find it. Cheese fridge. Right, here we go. Okay, so I'll pop this... I don't know, show and tell. Let's do some show and tell. Where is it? Okay, so over on my cheese blog, Little Green Cheese, which is where you can find me. Don't worry, there's an ad. Why is that ad there? Right, there we go. Make that go away. How to make a cheese fridge. So I will pop the link into the chatty box. So yeah, basically what I've done, conversion process, the tool I used. There's an Amazon link if you want to buy it. It's up to you guys. There's an Australian Amazon link and a US Canada /1, so that'll work. But yeah, that's how I did it and what I did it, and there may be even there may be a video in there somewhere if you have a look. But yeah, hang on, I'll just pop that in the chat. 2 seconds. And you'll see what I've done. Alrighty, there you go. So that should help you, and you should be able to click on that link in the chat, which is pretty cool. Thanks, Matt, for that question. Next question is, oops, no, that one. It's from Tamara, and we got another super chat. Thanks so much. That's Matt again. I will get to that in a second, Matt. Just finish this one from Tamara. Did you infuse the bland in a cheese? Sorry, did you infuse the bland in a cheese such as chowder, or can I? Yeah, it's actually a good. That is a good idea. You know the mead washed Alpine style cheese that I did. If you've seen the video of that, instead of using the spice mead that I did, you could use bland. How would that be? That'd be like full circle, wouldn't it? Very meta. Washing an Alpine style cheese in a in bland, which is made from the whey, fermented whey, and turned into an alcoholic beverage. Wouldn't that be amazing? That would be full circle. I'm gonna have to do that. Washed with blonde. There we go. Very cool. And oh, the curd nerd light's going off again. Hang on. Let me just oh, the wrong button. Goodness me, Gavin, get your act together. Right. Thank you so much for that question, Tamara. Let's. There is a super chat. Where the heck is it? All right. Here it is. This is the first one from Matt, and there's another one after that. I'll get to that one in a sec. Matt says, thanks for the tip on the cheese fridge. Looking forward to trying to make some cheese. Been watching for years. Keep up the good work. Thanks, Matt. Appreciate it, mate. Really do. And there's another super chat, $2 with no message. Thank you very much, Rob, for your kind US $2 super chat. Appreciate it. Okay, let's go back to some more questions. What's this one? Rob says, what should be the pH after removing mozzarella from whey? Good question. Not sure. Goodness me, and I've missed your next part of your question and I can't find it. Where is it? Rob, just way back. It says, I've crashed 2 batches. The pH is 4.7 and never raises in both batches. So, not sure what you're referring to, Rob. The pH after removing the mozzarella from the whey. Now, if you're using quick mozzarella and you're trying to use the whey to make ricotta, it won't work. Because that style of cheese, that quick mozzarella, doesn't lend itself to leaving too many whey proteins behind. So you won't be able to turn those whey proteins into ricotta. That is one of the only cheeses that you cannot use the leftover whey for ricotta, unfortunately. It may look creamy, but the acidity is way too high, low, as in acidic, to add more acid to it and then get the whey proteins out. So, yeah, unfortunately, won't work. Any other rennet set cheese should work to get whey ricotta, but for mozzarella, it just won't happen, unfortunately. Okay, Titus says, have I made tofu? No. Tofu's not a cheese, so I have not. P38 Wilbur says, I've never made cheese, and after finding you, I really want to give it a shot. Indeed. Cheese making, well, it's one of my most favourite hobbies and pastimes. Certainly if you're feeling wound up, this is what I find, and probably why I titled my 2 books, Keep Calm and Make Cheese, is because when you make cheese, I find, this is personally, I don't know if anybody else finds it, shout out in the comments, that when I make cheese, everything slows down, everything calms down, I get focused, and the cheese makes you focus because you have to tend to it like a small child. Anyway, that's my take on it. But give it a go. Anything. Start any cheese. Don't wait. Cinta says, sometimes I use dry spices for flavouring. I'm a little afraid of it moulding, so I eat it young. I'm a big fan of cheddar. Your aged cheddar after a year, I think, was looking amazing. It looked amazing. Indeed, it did. That aged cheddar after a year was something super special. In fact, I've had cheddar style, so double Gloucester is in the cheddar style family. I had that at 7 years, and I'll tell you what, that blew my mind. That was just amazing. If you want to see that, you could have a look at the 12 hours of cheese live stream, and there are chapters for that. You can skip ahead to the lunchtime session, the taste test, smoked cheese taste test, where I tasted the 7-year-old double Gloucester. It was just amazing. So, but using spices for flavouring, look, you can. Just I gave some tips on the Wednesday show that If you're going to use spices and stuff like that, it's probably best to heat them in a dry frying pan for at least 5 to 10 seconds to bring out the aromatics as well. As far as herbs, if they are dried herbs, they're not too bad. You can rehydrate them in a little bit of water, boil them for about 5 minutes, and add them to it, and add the water to the milk, because that's where a lot of the flavour will go. So that's a few tips for that sort of thing. Okay. Fun Pants says, I'm for a more recent cow feta video. I believe you should follow Gavin's Persian feta recipe and skip the marinade and use brine. Indeed. Well, I actually do brine that Persian feta, Nolan, because you have to get some salt into the cheese somehow. And then after it's been brined for a few days, that's when I put it into the marinade. But yeah, you still have to salt that cheese. Anthony says, you can also get a small humidifier and an Inkbird humidity controller if you really feel like going crazy with the fridge. This is what I've done. Indeed, Anthony, you can. You can actually get an Inkbird that does, I think it does both. It does temperature and humidity. You still have to use a humidifier. But yeah, there's probes that are attached to that device that measure both temperature and relative humidity. And Jim rightly states, says, be careful, Wilbur, because cheese making is addictive, I think, is what Jim's trying to say there. Very cool. Nina says, have you tried making cheese from fresh goat's milk? Our dough is producing milk finally, and I'm excited to try my first cheese with the milk, having only tried cow's milk before. Have I personally made cheese with fresh goat's milk? No, I bought the goat's milk and it hasn't been up to my expectations. But there are quite a few people in the chat who have their own goats. Tracy from cheeseneeds.com, and she actually has her own YouTube channel and makes a lot of goat's milk cheeses. So you can go and check her out. Tracy, chime in the chat if you're there somewhere. Okay, Titus says, I wonder if a blend slash hybrid of cow and soy is possible to make cheeses. Soy just won't coagulate. It's not a dairy product and doesn't have the same chemical structure as milk, so it may be very difficult to make that. Patricia says, further to the Mont d'Or style showcased in the gallery, which is coming, I hear there is an Aussie version. Driftwood is a glorious woody cheese made in Castlemaine. Do you know this cheese? No, I don't. No, I don't. I will have a look though. Driftwood in Castlemaine, or as they say in here in Victoria, Castlemaine. I'm from South Australia, so I don't say it the way the Victorians do, but that's okay. Thanks, Patricia. Appreciate that. Evan says, hi, Gavin. My local Coles is now stocking cold-pressed raw milk. Oh, right. So the one from made by cow. Is this real raw milk, and is there anything I need to do differently when using your recipes for this milk? Yes, it is real raw milk. It has been slightly processed. It's been pressure pasteurized. Pasteurization usually means heat treating the milk, but this is not. This is cold pressed, because what they do, they put it in a big hydrostatic, and they apply enough pressure to it to burst. Oops, that's the gallery reminder. Just finish this question and then we'll get into the gallery. So what they do, they apply enough pressure to the milk to burst any of the bacteria, the burst the cell walls of any of the bacteria that may be living in the milk, in the raw milk. It does have the enzymes still in there, so they're not destroyed. The calcium's not destroyed. So it does set a very good curd. So what you could do if you're using that milk, I would use at least 10%, maybe even 15% less rennet. Also, you don't need any calcium chloride when you're using that milk made by a cow. The Jersey one sets a curd that you can bounce a golf ball on, honestly. So ease off on the rennet when you're using my recipes for that raw milk. Alrighty, so yeah, so that is a very good. And there's just a follow-up by Katarina says, I used the cold-pressed raw milk made by a cow to make camembert, and it was seriously good. I'll tell you what, that raw milk camembert that I made with the made by a cow was amazing. Anyway, we'll finish that there. Okay, so let's go to the gallery. Oh, can we do it? Yes, we can, apparently. Righty-ho. Is that the gallery? Right, there. So, over to the gallery. Lovely to see you all. It's like I've walked into a different room, isn't it? All right, so, first of all, we have... this is from CL. And CL says, Hi Gavin, 3 pics attached. This is my first Parmesan when wet with your press. She bought it from our shop, and the mould by the looks, yeah, lovely. It says, one when wet, one when air dried, and the last one is my little assistant. Cheese making is a mother-daughter thing now, and it is such a wonderful way to spend time together. I will let this age for at least 12 months, and it will be a great 50th birthday present to myself next year. Happy 49th for this year. I am looking forward to tasting this Parmesan when it's ready. Thank you for your guidance and your positive can-do attitude. Thank you so much. I should say, I followed your recipe and used your hard cheese making kit with Inglenook dairy, unhomogenized, full cream, plus some skim milk to get the fat ratios right. One of your videos was extremely helpful when I was struggling to work out how to get the fat content right. Curd nerd in training, CL. No problem, CL. Let's have a look at your cheeses. But yeah, the video you're referring to is Pearson Square, and that has a lovely little explanation of how to calculate fat content for cheese. There is the Parmesan pressed, very heavily pressed by the looks of it, which is good. That's how it should be. Hopefully it was brined. And there's your little helper. That's Dylan is your helper, your daughter. Fantastic. It's great to see some mother-daughter action going on there, and being your helper in the room while you're making cheese. Rightio, that's not cheese, that's olives. What's going on here? This is from Costanzo. Costanzo says, this is a Guido's and a Monterey Jack with black olives. Right, so the black olives are in the can. Maybe. Right, so there we go. There's the 2 photos. So, so the Monterey Jack has black olives from a can. That looks like the Guido's there, which is a hard Italian cheese. And a nice platter with it all on. So it says, so the Jack was very creamy and crumbly, and I followed your recipe, added olives. Everybody enjoyed it, but liked the Jack more, and the grandchildren also loved them, but the 18-month baby preferred the Guido's. Oh, okay, fair enough. Thank you for your knowledge and getting me hooked on cheese making. P.S. I watched the live stream on Saturday but do not know how to join the chat. Can you tell me how to show in the next live chat? I think on the replay the message or question did not appear. Did you change them? No, the live chat's always there. It's further down. YouTube will move them. So you'll find the live chats on the archive page. I always leave it on there. Alrighty, so there are some more cheese photos from Costanzo. There we are. There's the Monterey Jack with olives. I've never used olives out of can, but they would be sterile because anything that's canned is pressure canned at, I think it's about 113 degrees Celsius. So there will be no fear whatsoever of contaminants within the can. So that is a good idea. Anything in a can is good to add to your cheese. Alright, that's a good looking cheese. But yeah, the Monterey Jack style the recipe that I have, does tend to be crumbly because it has a lower acidity than, say, normal Monterey Jack. Anyway, there's the Guidos. It looks like you've made your own salami there too. That looks fantastic. Out the back. And the Guidos. That looks fantastic. Alrighty, so on to the next one. Thank you so much, Costanzo. Now, before I mention it, so hang on, let me just... So what do you do to chat in the chat box? Well, of course, what you need to do is make sure you log onto YouTube with your Gmail account, and to be able to chat, you actually have to create a channel page. YouTube doesn't let you chat unless you've got a channel page. Now, the channel page will be blank, right? You don't need to add stuff to it unless you're gonna, branch out and be like Gav and, produce videos and stuff like that people want to watch. So you don't have to do that, but you do have to create a blank channel page and give it a name. And that name of the channel page will be what shows up in the chat. So that's what you do. All right, anyway, back to the gallery. This is from Dennis, and Dennis has some questions which we may have already answered. I'm not sure. Anyway, Dennis says, hi Gavin, I finally made my first cheese. I made a whole milk ricotta using your YouTube recipe. It turned out to be way too firm, and I have a few questions regarding what to do to try to correct my process. For reference, I used half a cup of the citric acid solution plus 3 tablespoons. The YouTube and Keep Calm recipes in the book are different. Probably. That earlier book was probably, I didn't compare the recipes properly, but they're very close. I chose to follow the YouTube recipe, and I think I should have used the recipe from the book. Do you have any preference? I think the book one's better than the video for the whole milk ricotta. The second question is, are all food grade citric acid products the same pH? Yes, they tend to be. I think the cause of my problem was over acidifying the milk. I'll get to that in a second. Third question is, I had used very high quality organic non-homogenized milk produced locally. I don't know if this makes any difference for an acid set cheese. Indeed. Right, so when you create, so you've got the milk all heated up there, which is beautiful. And that's the resulting curd, which shouldn't kind of look like that. So what happens is, if you over acidify the cheese, it forms tighter bonds, and it sticks together like a normal sort of cheese. What you need to do, Dennis, is add a little bit of the acid at a time once you've reached the target temperature. So add the acid 1 tablespoon at a time, give it a stir and see if it starts to coagulate. Then you add another tablespoon of the citric acid solution that has been diluted in water. Add that, give it a stir. Same if you're going to use vinegar to acidify the cheese. Any sort of acid. Add a little bit at a time, give it a stir until it starts to curdle. Once it's curdled, then don't add any more, just stir it very gently, and it should start all floating to the top, which is what it does. And then if you think that it's stable enough, all right, then you can probably drain it, no problems at all. If you think they're very flaky, the pieces of ricotta, add 1 more tablespoon, and that's it, no more. If you add any more, it starts to go firm and rubbery. So this is probably what is going on. So what you say here is, what I plan to do next time is use the recipe from the book. Well, it doesn't really matter. Can you start with a scant half cup of the solution, maybe as little as a third, and work my way up? Indeed. This is exactly what you need to do. Let the curds drain only until it stops draining. Don't over drain. Indeed. Your show is wonderful, and thank you for your help. Sincerely, Dennis. No problems, Dennis. I think you're in the chat, actually. So shout out to Dennis and his... it looks like cottage cheese. That's exactly... You should have thrown a bit of cream with it, and you would have had cottage cheese. It would have been perfect. Okay. So the next photo, this one's from Heather, and Heather has... What she got there? Says, hi Gavin, I just turned my buttermilk blue and thought I'd share the moment with you. That looks fantastic. Absolutely perfect. My first mould-ripened cheese. Very cool. Thank you for sharing your knowledge, Heather. Heather, that looks amazing. Let's zoom in. I love a good blue cheese. Look at that. So good. That is a good-looking blue cheese. Now, because it's got so many crevices, I don't know, have you pierced it? It looks like you have. Yeah, I think you have. From the little bits around the outside, but yeah, you got enough. The good thing is the way the structure of the cheese, you're going to have some really good veining in the middle of that buttermilk blue, so that's really good. Thanks, Heather, for sending that in. Right, so the next person that has sent one in is Jennifer Murch, friend of the channel, and she has appeared in an interview. What was it? 12 Hours of Cheese this year, I think it was. Right, so Jennifer has a question about her blue cheese. So this is a bit of her blue cheese on a try. It says, "Hello, Gavin. Today, after 14 gallons of milk, one botched attempt and a second make, after 8 long weeks of coddling and waiting, I finally cut into my first blue cheese. It's delicious, soft, creamy, not too strong, the right amount of salt, and it's addictive. Even the rind is delicious. I'm calling the cheese Full Moon Blue since it's so huge. Once I got over my initial thrill, I examined it more closely and more rationally. The cheese is good, yes, but it's obviously not perfect. My number one concern is the dark yellow patches in the paste. Any idea what that's from?" Hang on, let's have a quick look. So that's the final cheese after she's cleaned it up a bit. That looks perfect, and that's the hole where the tryer went in. And I think you can we see the tryer? Yeah, just down there. Perfect. And there it is. Look at that. Isn't that amazing? What an amazing blue cheese. That is absolutely perfect. So because of the structure of the cheese, when she put it in the mold and just used gravity, and there were a lot of air pockets, so you got a nice even veining. Now these yellow pockets here are because she's used her own raw milk from her own cows, and they have a high fat content. So the yellowing is just a little artifact of the high fat content of the cheese. I certainly wouldn't be very critical of the cheese. It looks amazing, and I think the taste would be spot on. So Jennifer says, "My number 2 concern is the sheer amount of blue. It doesn't taste too strong, weirdly enough, but I'd hope for a higher ratio of cheese paste to mould. Is this because the cheese was brined, which made it puff, thus exacerbating the loose, unpressed structure and causing the mould to penetrate the cheese deeply? Or is it a sign that I just need less mould in general? Or maybe that's just how some blues are. It's totally okay." It's totally okay. I think you're overthinking it, Jennifer. It is one of the best blues that I've seen for a while. And you've got a little addendum here. Says, "I crumbled some of the blue cheese into a buttermilk sauce and served it to dinner guests. The blue cheese sauce, caramelized onion, and bacon over a grilled steak, and they went nuts for the blue cheese sauce. Licked the bowl clean and begged for more. Ha ha. All the best, Jennifer." Honestly, Jennifer, I think that looks like the classic Forme d'Ambert, the French blue cheese, and it really does look amazing. So you should be so proud of yourself. Hopefully you've made a video of it, because Jennifer's got a channel under the name Jennifer Murch, and that cheese is just spectacular. I wouldn't change a thing. As far as I'm concerned, that's a perfect blue cheese with very high fat content. So yeah, the veining is intense. That's just, it's good. It's good, Jennifer. You did good. You did a good job. Oh, absolutely perfect. Right, next. Thank you, Jennifer, for sending that in. This is a cheese mold, and who sent this in? No, who sent this? Who sent this? Kevin. Do I have in Kevin? Kevin said, right, so this is a, did I have? Sorry, I'm going to break the fourth wall. There's me pictures. Did I miss Kevin's thing? Oh, I did. Right. Right, so Kevin says, "Thanks for showing the pitch last week of his Wensleydale." It says, "I inquired about the mould that he used that had a flange on it. Said it's the number 23 2 kilogram cheddar mould from Goat Nutrition here in the UK. It's a heavy quality mould, not cheap, and has a flange on the follower which gives the finished cheese a nice appearance. Regards, Kevin. Thank you, Kevin, for showing that. And because I don't ship to the UK, happy to promote Goat Nutrition, which actually has a lot of cheese making stuff. So you can go and check out their website if you wanted to, if you're in the UK and you wanted to buy some. I'd have to hit them up for an affiliate, I think. Anyway, good looking cheese mould, and creates a great looking cheese as well. Okay, so the next photo is from Michael and Jenny. Do I have Michael and Jenny's? Goodness me, I've lost this one too. Where is it? Right, there we go. Right, need the spiel. It says, hi Gavin, we decided to open our very first cheese, the Farmhouse Cheddar, vacuum sealed and placed in the cheese cave on the 25th of July 2022, 3.5 months old. The aroma was amazing, the flavour was unreal, smooth and creamy, just the right amount of salt, and very surprised. I know that I used the Mad Millie starter culture, so the cheese mesophilic it's called, and it was not the MA 4001. It's the best cheese we've tasted from our cheese making collection, except for Jenny's Camembert, which we've seen on the channel as well. The other 3/4 has been vacuum sealed and placed back in the cheese cave for further maturation. Michael and Jenny. Absolutely perfect. That is a good looking stirred curd cheddar. There we go. That is that it just out of its vac packing? And there it is. There's the structure of the cheese. You got some mechanical holes, as cheddar normally does, because it's very hard to press. But yeah, that looks amazing. Well done, Michael and Jenny. That Mad Millie culture is not as bad as some people think. It got exactly the same strains as, say, MO30. Yep, MO30. It's also got the same strains as MA11, I think. Let me just have a quick... Can I have a quick squiz and find what the heck's in MA11? 2 seconds, ladies and gentlemen, and I will find the right culture name. Okay, L and LC. What's got LL? Right, yeah, MA11, 14, 16, 19, they're all for phase control. But exactly the same sort of culture. And just the reference I'm using, hopefully, there we go. I'll just put this here. Oh, stop it. Make it bigger. Right, so the reference I'm using, if I can, right, is from Mary Carlin has a book, and she has these downloadables. So if you go to the Artisan Cheese Making at Home website, there is a website for it, and it has some good explanations. So I can tell that MO30, which has LL and LC, so Lactobacillus lactis subspecies lactis and Lactobacillus lactis subspecies cremoris, is the same as, whoop, there we go, there, mesophilic Danisco Choose It MA11, so very similar. There is another, I don't know, this one's from New England Cheese Making Supply, Mother Starter Culture, and Abiasa Type 3 mesophilic is the same as well. So yeah, so you can tell different cultures what they're like. Anyway, so let's get out of that and get back to the gallery. But thank you, Michael and Jenny, for that one. Now, where's the gallery gone? Oh, let's get rid of that. Right, back to the gallery. Okay, the way I'm going, I'm probably going to go over time. So if you wanted to hang around, that's okay. If you've only got an hour to spare, then I wouldn't mind if you dropped off. But it's up to you guys and girls and curd nerds. So anyway, back to the cheese. So this one is from Nolan, aka FunPants94. Thank you, Nolan. Get a bit of a spiel here. It says, hello, Mr. Gavin. Don't have to be so formal, mate. Gavin's fine. I've attached my smoked paprika kafili photos following your recent video. Turned out fairly well so far. I plan on vac sealing after 3 weeks of aging The first 2 images were as I applied the first coating, and the final picture was taken this morning after rotating and applying a fresh coat of smoky paprika. I have found I need to keep quite a large gap in my ripening box to avoid excessive condensation on the walls. Yes, that is true. Right, so that's fully coated, and there it is after the final coat. So very cool, and that'll make the cheese a lovely colour, and also, like I said in my video, keep the mold down. That's for sure. Okay. Now, I plan on making the Guido's Hard Italian cheese recipe today and make a pepper line down the middle using crushed black, red and green peppercorns. Oh, that'd be flash. Once you made that, show us. Got to show us. Thank you, Nolan. Thank you, Funpants94 and wife and doggos. Thank you to Nolan for sending those in. That's absolutely fantastic. I love to see a good recipe repeated. This one's from Patricia. Now, I've got some notes from Patricia here somewhere. Where is it? Here it is. Says, "Hi Gavin, here are 3 offerings for the gallery. First up is my second ever Fundy Fog, a long-standing request from my husband that I finally got around to making. I think it grew less white mold than my first fog, but it was still a great tasting cheese. Indeed, I tell you what, Patricia, it is one of my favourite ash-coated cheeses. It's really amazing. So that Fundy Fog is spectacular, by the way, and thank you for sharing that recipe with me from the bottom of my heart. It really was great. Kim loved it. She was over the moon. The next picture, also from Patricia, says here, next is good old goat feta. I make this stuff all the time. It's easy to do, never fails, and is ready to eat in 4 days. I just never thought before about sending a picture of it. It looks lovely. Goat feta is one of the simplest cheeses. It is pretty fail-proof. A lot of people should start with this simple white cheese. And finally, something very flash. This is finally 2 little Mont d'Or style cheeses. Just finished draining and put in their ripening box for about 5 intensive weeks of washing and flipping. These wooden bands around the outer edges of the cheese are strips of spruce cambium. I think that's how you say it. The inner bark layer from spruce trees, which is traditional for aging this kind of cheese. These beauties are intended as the next entry in my Sweeney Todd series of cheeses, so I will send an update when they're ready to eat. All the best to you and Kim. Patricia. Thank you, Patricia. They look amazing. And I don't know what mat you're using, but it's given quite an amazing little pattern as well. And I like the elastic bands to hold the spruce, what's it called again? Cambium. So yeah, very interesting. I'd love to see how they're supposed to be very creamy, and the spruce adds some flavour to it, and also adds some stability as the cheese starts to go creamy as you wash it. But yeah, that's amazing. Thank you, Patricia, for sharing that. And yeah, I'd love to know where you got the recipe for that one. If I can get some bark, that would be a lovely cheese to make for the channel. All right, next one is from Tamara, and where is it? Tamara, here we are. Says, "Hi Gavin, we're in Piedmont, I think that's how you say it, Ohio, USA. My husband and I love watching your videos. We have Nubian dairy goats. I started making a simple cream cheese this year. I tested freezing it and thawing it. It thaws out as good as the day that I prepared it for freezing. I have 35 pounds of frozen cheese for the winter and another 5 pounds in the fridge. 4 pounds in the fridge. I like to use Flora Danica. Oh, hang on, we'll move on to the cheese. Sorry, this is the goats. Oh, there's the goats. Aren't they good-looking goats? Good on you, girls. All right, here's the cheese. I like to use the Flora Danica culture to culture the milk. I heat the milk to 180 degrees Fahrenheit like I do with yogurt. Then I cool to approximately 85 Fahrenheit. All right, let's just convert that. Alexa, convert 180 Fahrenheit into Celsius.
180 degrees Fahrenheit is about 82.2 degrees Celsius.
Right, so 82 Celsius, and then you cool it down to 85 Fahrenheit. Alexa, convert 85 Fahrenheit to Celsius. No, she doesn't want to do it. Convert 85 Fahrenheit to Celsius. Maybe Siri will do it.
That would be 29.4 degrees Celsius.
Right, 29.4. And you'll notice that both Siri and Alexa in Australia have Aussie accents. Alrighty, there we go. Yeah, right. Then I add the Floridanica, let it hydrate the milk, stir in, and immediately add the calcium chloride diluted, followed by the rennet. I stir the curds. I let the curds develop at room temperature for 12 hours. And then when I get to the flavour I prefer, I strain the cheesecloth with cheesecloth lined colander over a pot to catch the whey in the fridge. It's a lovely cream cheese, or sherbet. My goat's butter fat runs at about 5 to 7%. It melts perfectly and will thicken back up when cooled. I've attached a picture of a 3-pound log and an amazing cheesecake that we made from it. Alright, so that log looks pretty cool. And there's the cheesecake. That looks delicious as well. I love the jam that you poured all over it. I love jam. Alright, very cool. Thank you so much, Tamara. I appreciate it. And I don't know, is this the last ones? This is the last couple, I think. This one is from Tony. Yeah, Tony, he's in the chat too. Tony says, "Hi Gavin, here is a photo of my cheese cave I share with Italian Capacchiola, which is the salami, I think. This one here. Very nice. I like little drip trays. I wish I'd have thought of that when I matured some salami. It says, I am making and the cheese that I've made to date, which is Cotswold, Swiss, Gouda, Monterey Jack, and Colby. Well done, mate. I love the cheeses. Some waxed, some vac packed. Absolutely beautiful. And a couple of bottles of vino up the top there too. Very nice. Very multi-purpose cheese fridge. I love it. And you've also got a picture of your Colby that you've waxed. Now, I do like the little stickers. I just tend to get a piece of card and write on it. But yeah, this is very flash. So I like the way you've got it. It was processed, what the age is, what the ingredients were, and the weight afterwards. Not for sale, of course. Home cheesemaker. Very cool. No, that's really good, Tony. Well done, mate. Appreciate it. Thanks for sending that in. Now, that's the last photo of the gallery. Rightio. Back to my head. So how do you send in photos as well? Let's have a look. Where are we? Gav. Right, so how do you send in photos? Well, you do it like this. So you go to Gav's channel, Gavin Weber, or you can type in cheeseman.tv and that'll take you there as well. So you go to the About tab, like thus, and because I'm signed in, and you do have to be signed in to see this, it'll ask you to prompt to do that. You go to details, it says for business inquiries, view the email address. So that email address there on the About tab is where you can send photos for the gallery, and subsequently if I turn them into a Gavin Reacts type video as well. So they'll always go on to the live stream first, of course. So the About tab, that's where you go. Absolutely fantastic if you want to send through pictures of your cheeses or some questions with your cheeses as well. So thanks to everybody who sent those in today. I really appreciate it. And we got a super chat, and that's from, who's that from? That's from Frederick, and sent in some Swedish krona. Thank you so much, Frederick. Appreciate it. I don't know if you've got a, why's that not turning off? Right, that took a while. Do you have a question anywhere there, Frederick? Oh, I've missed. I don't know. Let's have a look. Maybe. don't know. I missed a lot of questions here. I've only got so much space on the thing that displays the comments. It doesn't look like I have, but thank you so much for that 27 kroner, Frederick. I really appreciate it. Alrighty. What time is it? Holy dooly! It's time to finish. I don't know if anybody's going to. I'll do a couple more questions before we finish. Let's have a look. Yeah, let's have a look. A few people are saying good night because they're leaving. Alrighty. Patricia says she wants to go to Tamara's place for dessert. Yeah, that cheesecake looks pretty good. And Herb says, impressive gallery, Curd Nerds. Indeed. It's very, very cool. Michelle, not Michael. First time attending a live stream. So interesting and informative. Thank you. No, it's great because I love the way that when the gallery's on, people comment about the photos and then they answer each other's questions as well, which is very cool as well. So, it's really good. We've got a fantastic community here on the chat, and there's no shenanigans, which is good as well. So, I like that. There is one final question. Let's have a look. Hello, Gavin. Can you tell us about too high proteolysis? My raclette's smelling ammonia and stinks the nose. I put the same amount of culture as your recipe, but I use raw milk. What can I do? Yeah, when using raw milk, ease off a little bit on the culture. All of the recipes that I have are for pasteurised milk, which does destroy the native lactic bacteria, which is unfortunate, and I have to add back a certain amount to get it to taste like the cheese it's supposed to. However, when you're using raw milk, there are native lactic bacteria within that milk. So you've already got some in there. So if you add in the same amount, I think I've said this in my book, that you need to ease off a little bit on the culture. About 25% less is usually a good rule of thumb. And you get a fairly good cheese. Now, too high proteolysis is caused, yes, it can be caused by a little bit too much culture, or the temperature's too high. The higher the temperature, the quicker the proteolysis, which is, proteolysis, for those who don't know, is the breakdown of the proteins. So, they change from different types of protein acids, and they get smaller and smaller and smaller as the cheese goes. Now, raclette does smell like ammonia because of the Brevibacteria linens that you put in it. It's got nothing to do with high proteolysis. The raclette, if you let it air dry and dry out, which they do, that ammonia smell will go away. And stinky socks. It actually smells more like stinky socks than ammonia. White mold cheese smells more like ammonia than raclette does. So, I don't think it's the culture. I think it will be the Brevibacteria linens that you added into it. Licky. So, there you go. Jim says, at least a couple of cheesy jokes before I go. All right, cool. I can. Jim, I'm gonna do a cheesy joke just for you, mate, because I like you. All right. What type of cheese do you use to attract a bear? Anyone? Camembert. Oh, there we go. Right, there's my head. Very cool. That's a dad joke, if you ever saw one. I saw a crocodile the other day, but thankfully it only eats cheese. It's an alligator. Get it? Alrighty. What have we got? Alright, here's the last one. Why did the clown... hang on. What? Oh, too early. Sorry. I beat myself to the punchline. Right, why did the clown leave the cheese circus? Because she couldn't get her Stilton. Oh, I don't know. There you go. There's some crappy cheese jokes of the week. There you go, Jim. Just for you, mate. And everybody else, of course. Love the jokes. Anyway, that will do for today's show. I'm running 5 minutes past the normal time, but thank you so much, everybody. Don't Don't forget, if you want to learn to make your own cheese, you can do if you pop over to courses.littlegreenworkshops.com.au. I've got a beginner's course there, and a lot of people in the chat have done this course and say it's well worth the money. You will learn how to make 9 different cheeses, plus all the background of cheese making. It's got worksheets, lots of other videos that you don't actually see on the channel, so they are exclusive to the course. Also, don't forget, you can pick up your cheese making supplies. We ship to quite a few countries around the world, except for the EU and the UK and Africa. But a lot of the other countries, that's due to tax and getting it there. So go to littlegreenworkshops.com.au. Now, if you want to pick up some very cool merch, like the official certified Curd Nerd mug, then you can do that. Just pop over to merch.cheeseman.tv and you'll go to the merch site and be able to pick up all this stuff. You can even pick up, hang on, need a sip. Even pick up the books. Keep Calm and Make Cheese and Keep Calm and Make More Cheese. Now, just a note on the books. There's already a printed version, which we do ship to the countries that we ship over at Little Green Workshops. So you can pick up a paper spiral-bound version of Keep Calm and Make Cheese. I'm currently working on the spiral-bound version of Keep Calm and Make More Cheese, which is double the size. And I'm just updating that, the ebook version, to have QR codes, which you can, show and do on your phone, and it takes you to the video link, because in a paper version you can't click on a link. That's part of the books. The beauty of the books, as far as I'm concerned, is that they have links to the videos for that recipe. So I put QR codes in the printed versions, so you can still go to the videos when you need to reference that material. So I'm still working on that. I'm nearly finished. We'll have the first printed version of Keep Calm and Make More Cheese out in the next couple of weeks. So stay tuned for that. I will announce it on the stream as well, and put the link for that product. Anyway, Patricia says, it was great that you could run a little longer today, Gavin. Thanks for a great show. Thanks, Patricia. Next week, North America goes back an hour, so it'll be a teeny bit harder for me to make the start of the show. Just pop in halfway through, mate. That'll be fine. Yeah, I thought you guys already gone to daylight, fallen back daylight savings, but because Europe and the UK have already done that, but that's all right. We go at all sorts of weird times ourselves. So, but anyway, that's it. That's it for the show. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen, Curd Nerds, Curd Nerdettes. It's been fun and a fantastic gallery today, and lots and lots of good questions. So thank you, everybody, and I will see you on Wednesday at 8 p.m. my time, which is whatever time it is where you are. So I'll see you Wednesday, and if I don't see you Wednesday, I'll see you next Sunday. Thanks, Curd Nerds, and I'll see you next time.